Beneath the earth, untouched for millennia, there are objects that hold within them the power to rewrite the story of humanity. Ancient coffins, sealed away in silence, stand as time capsules of entire civilizations. When experts pry them open, they do not simply reveal bones or artifacts, but worlds that once thrived, beliefs that once guided millions, and mysteries that challenge everything we thought we knew. One such discovery came when archaeologists carefully opened a 2,000-year-old coffin, and what they found inside left even the most seasoned historians stunned beyond words. This was not a simple burial. This was something extraordinary, something that continues to spark debate and fascination to this day. The coffin was first unearthed in a region known for its deep ties to ancient civilizations. Unlike ordinary graves, this coffin was massive, carved out of stone with almost surgical precision. Its sheer size alone baffled researchers. Why would a single coffin require such effort and resources? Some suggested it belonged to a person of immense importance, perhaps a king, priest, or military leader. Others whispered that it could hold religious secrets or even objects of power, preserved intentionally away from the eyes of the world. What made it even more intriguing was the strange symbols etched into its surface, markings that seemed alien to the region's known languages and yet eerily familiar, as though they carried a universal meaning. Opening a coffin of this magnitude is no small feat. Experts had to carefully analyze the stone structure, study the surrounding soil, and consider possible danger such as ancient toxins, curses, or fragile artifacts that might crumble at the slightest disturbance. Weeks turned into months as the team prepared the site. When they finally began the process of lifting the lid, the atmosphere grew tense. Many onlookers expected the usual: skeletal remains, pottery, or jewelry. But as the stone slab shifted, it revealed something far more shocking. The interior was not dry and dusty as one might assume, but filled with a thick, dark liquid. This immediately raised a storm of questions. How had liquid survived inside a sealed coffin for over 2 millennia? Was it part of a ritual? Was it some form of ancient preservation technique? Or something far more sinister? The liquid itself became the subject of endless fascination. Samples were carefully extracted and analyzed. Some researchers speculated it was a mixture of water, oils, and resins deliberately poured into the coffin as part of a burial practice. Others suggested it was the result of groundwater seeping in over the centuries, mixing with decomposed organic matter. But what unsettled many was the fact that the liquid appeared unusually viscous and dark, as though it had retained properties inconsistent with natural decay. For a moment, wild theories flourished. Some believed it was evidence of alchemy or forgotten science. Others went as far as to say it was linked to dark rituals, something intentionally crafted to keep whatever was inside preserved or cursed. When the liquid was carefully drained, the true contents of the coffin came into view. Inside were the skeletal remains of multiple individuals, not just one. This revelation stunned archaeologists. Why would a coffin, built so grandly and sealed with such care, contain more than a single body? The arrangement of the skeletons was chaotic, almost as if they had been placed in haste. Some appeared incomplete, others fractured. This suggested not a ceremonial burial, but something entirely different. Could it have been a mass execution, a punishment, or perhaps a ritual sacrifice where multiple lives were bound together in death for reasons lost to time? What made the discovery even stranger were the artifacts buried alongside the remains. Among the bones were fragments of weapons, intricately carved objects, and what looked like ritualistic tools. Some were made of metals that should not have existed in that region during that era, raising even deeper questions about ancient trade routes or hidden knowledge. One particular artifact stood out, a small tablet-like object with inscriptions that scholars struggled to decode. The writing did not match any known script from the region. Some believed it held religious significance, while others speculated it might be a lost language altogether, one that could unlock new chapters in the history of human communication. The deeper experts studied, the more unsettling the picture became. Radiocarbon dating confirmed the coffin was indeed around 2,000 years old, but anomalies emerged in the skeletal analysis. Some of the remains belonged to individuals who appeared much older than expected, with signs of advanced bone wear that did not match their supposed ages at death. Others had unusual cranial shapes, fueling speculation that they were outsiders, possibly from distant civilizations. This suggested either an ancient gathering of diverse peoples or a ritual that deliberately chose individuals from different groups. Stories began to swirl around the discovery. Some whispered that this coffin was not simply a tomb, but a prison, a place designed to contain something dangerous. The sealing of the coffin with such a strange liquid supported this theory. Perhaps these individuals had been part of a ritual gone wrong, their remains deliberately locked away to prevent their spirits, or whatever they carried, from escaping. In ancient cultures, death was not simply an end, but a transition, and great efforts were made to control how the dead crossed over. Could it be that this coffin was not about honoring the deceased, but about ensuring they never returned? Historians, too, found themselves wrestling with unsettling implications. If this was indeed a burial of ritual significance, it challenged much of what was known about funerary practices in the region. If it was a mass grave, it hinted at violence or political upheaval on a scale not previously recorded. And if it was something more, something tied to religion, magic, or lost knowledge, then it could represent one of the most significant archaeological discoveries in centuries. The public's reaction was equally divided. Some saw it as an incredible window into the past, a rare chance to learn more about forgotten traditions. Others feared what had been uncovered, believing that disturbing such a site could bring consequences. There were even calls to reseal the coffin and return it to the earth, as though humanity was meddling with forces best left undisturbed. What truly made this discovery unforgettable, however, was the way it blurred the line between history and mystery. Here was a coffin that did not fit into neat categories. It was not simply a king's tomb, nor an ordinary grave. It was something else, something that carried with it questions about how much we really understand about the ancient world. The skeletons, the artifacts, the liquid, the inscriptions, all combined to form a puzzle that still resists clear answers. And that is what makes this story so powerful. Sometimes history reveals itself not as certainty, but as a challenge. A challenge to our assumptions, our science, and our understanding of what it means to be human. The 2,000-year-old coffin is a reminder that the past is not dead, but alive with mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Each discovery is a doorway into another world, one where we are forced to confront the unknown and consider the possibility that ancient people knew and practiced things we can scarcely imagine today. In the end, the coffin remains both a triumph and a riddle. A triumph because it expands the boundaries of what we know about ancient civilizations, their rituals, and their complexities. A riddle because it refuses to give up all its secrets, leaving us with tantalizing fragments that ignite the imagination. And perhaps that is the greatest gift of such discoveries. They keep history alive, not as a static record, but as an ongoing dialogue between the living and the dead, the present and the past. The experts who opened that coffin walked away forever changed. What they saw was not just bones in a box, but a mirror into the mysteries of humanity itself. And perhaps one day, when we finally decode the inscriptions, fully analyze the strange liquid, and understand the identities of those entombed within, we will come closer to answering the haunting question that coffin has left us with. Was it a burial, a prison, or something far beyond either? Until then, the world watches and wonders.